Hey, Tapu Lele has come back to raids, and it is the worst Tapu Pokemon, 456 in the Ultra League. But every Pokemon has an opportunity to shine if you build the right team around it. Now, when we look under the hood at Tapu Lele's stats, it has a higher attack than Dragonite and Machamp. That's nothing to look down at, while also having pretty high defense, but a very low stamina. Its move pool isn't too bad as well. Confusion as the fast move with Psyshock and either Moonblast or Focus Blast. And in today's moveset, we're going to go with Focus Blast. Now, the first thing we need to do is take a look at its weaknesses. It's weak to Ghost, Poison, and Steel. The most common Pokemon that we see are Pokemon like Giratina Altered, Trevenant, and Registeel. Now, pairing it with Obstagoon is going to be very nice because it can beat Trevenant, Giratina Altered, and Registeel while having weaknesses that Tapu Lele can counter. Now, that's a good pairing to start off with, but we need to round out the team with something that can fulfill a lot of different roles. Firstly, it needs to be able to beat Giratina Altered and Trevenant. Secondly, it needs to be able to draw out fighters. And thirdly, it needs to be able to force a shield against those fighters that are most common in the meta. We're going to be going with Wall Rain. You hard counter the Giratina Altered, you can hit super effective against the Trevenant. You can do super effective damage to Virizion and Cobalion, the most common fighters that we do see in the meta. So the team has been built: Tapu Lele, Obstagoon, and Wall Rain. Let's see how we do. Alright, getting into the first battle, we have Tapu Lele on the lead versus Pidgeot. So, not the best of lead matchups, but this confusion damage is gonna chunk. Remember, it's a very, very high attack stat, Tapu Lele. So we're gonna go ahead and go for the Psyshock right away. This might actually force a shield. Seeing how much damage we're doing to them, we do get a shield, so now we're gonna swap out right away into Wall Rain. We don't know what they have in the back, but my guess is there's gonna be a fighter back there. That's why we built this team. Let's see if it is. Sure enough, there's a Buzzwole back there, so this is very good. It allows us to draw it out firstly with Wall Rain and let Obstagoon potentially sweep just like we planned with this team build. Now, unfortunately, we can only do neutral damage in this situation, which means we aren't going to be forcing a shield here from the Buzzwole, but that is okay because we already forced a shield from the Pidgeot. So they fully farm us down, and now Tapu Lele is going to have to double shield right here. We're going to let the switch clock go down. And that confusion damage, that is so much right there from the Buzzwole. So we're going to go ahead and shield, and then we're going to have to do one more confusion, and hopefully this is going to be enough. We will have to double shield as well, so let's see if we can pull this off. We do confusion down, and then we're going to look to swap out right away into Obstagoon, and they're looking to stay in. So what we're going to do here is go for the Obstruct. What I want to do is they're clearly must be weak in the back, so I want to try to force a shield with Obstruct while boosting our own defense so that we can try to survive a Brave Bird if they go for it. And it was just a Feather Dance, which is perfect. Now let's see what they decide to do. We're going to go ahead and keep loading up on energy and now go for the Night Slash just because I don't want them to get off another charge move. And let's see what that final Pokemon was. Trevenant? No, Galarian Stunfisk. So Obstagoon does have a chance right here. Remember, we did use Obstruct already to boost our defenses. Counter is doing super effective damage, but nothing right here. So if this is Earthquake, I am swapping out into Tapu Lele. It is the Earthquake. We got to swap out right away. We got a confusion to the Focus Blast right here. Can we get to it in time? Yes, we can. Tapu Lele with a very high attack stat. We're starting off beautiful. Boom! One shots the Galarian Stunfisk. That is going to be a good battle. Very well played. Getting into game 2, we got a Jellicent on the lead. So, very hard lead loss. We're going to swap out. I misclicked right there and did a fast move instead, which is unfortunate, but that's okay. We're going to come in with Wall Rain, and we're going to look to no shield right here. If they're not swapping out, Obstagoon must do very well too, but let's see what they decide to do. They're staying in. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and go for an Earthquake. Now, they have shown that they have Bubble Beam, so it's likely Bubble Beam and Shadow Ball, which means Obstagoon, and sure enough, a Virizion comes in. This is exactly the game plan that we have with this team. Tapu Lele lead, we safe swap the Wall Rain to draw out the fighters because they fear the confusion damage, and they can also win this matchup, which frees up Obstagoon. It's a beautiful setup as the Leaf Blade is not enough to take us down, and in this matchup, we can do super effective damage with Icicle Spear. Now, unfortunately, the damage is lowered because of the Bubble Beam. So we would have forced a shield there if it wasn't for Bubble Beam, and they went for a fast attack, which means Confusion did enough damage. Now, this Jellicent has a Shadow Ball ready to go, so we're going to swap out right away into Obstagoon to catch the charge move. If this is Shadow Ball, which it is, that is heavily resisted, and this is now a beautiful situation. What have we done? We have successfully eliminated the fighter on their team. If they have 2, so be it, but my guess is that they don't. So let's see what we can do here. We know the moveset as well. This is not going to be Ice Beam. This is Bubble Beam and Shadow Ball, and they're obviously going to go for Bubble Beam, and the final Pokemon is going to be a Talonflame. So what we have to do is try to chip damage right here, and we need to get back into Tapu Lele when we can, so that that Confusion damage can do a lot of neutral damage, basically, to the Talonflame. So we're going to no shield. It is going to be Flame Charge. We're going to swap out right away into the Tapu Lele and just do as much damage with Confusion as we can, and having to give up shields. We don't need shields on Obstagoon in order to beat the Jellicent. So what we're going to try to do here is just put a lot of pressure now with Psyshock, as this should force their final shield, and it does. And then we might be able to win the race to the next Psyshock, which we do. So we're going to go ahead and go for that. And that is going to be a good game, very well played. Jellicent will not have enough damage or health in order to win this game, and that is going to be a surrender. Good battle, very well played. Right, moving next one, we got Tapu Lele versus Shadow Charizard on the lead. So this is a tough lead right here because we necessarily can't swap out, but look at how much damage Confusion is doing. That is going to be 50% HP gone by the time they get to their first Blast Burn. So what we're going to look to do here is try to force a shield, and then I'm going to look to no shield the second one, because my hope is that they may not get, actually they probably will get to Blast Burn in time, but my hope is that that next Confusion takes them out, but it wasn't enough. So I'm actually going to let this go. And it was a second Blast Burn, unfortunately. So we're going to come in with Wall Rain and Powder Snow down, load up on energy. And this is just going to be a Dragon Claw, so there's no need to shield right here. So let's see what else they have in the back. It is going to be a Cobalion. Okay, so this is tough. We go for the Earthquake right here. This obviously going to do super effective damage. My hope is that they decide to let it go through, which they do. So I'm going to swap into Obstagoon right away and look to try to counter down in time. I don't know if I will be able... I think they're going to get to the charge move. Unfortunately, my counters aren't doing enough damage, but I do get to the Night Slash at least to force a shield right here from my opponent, because they may think it's Cross Chop, and they did get to the next charge move in time. So this is very, very, very unfortunate for me, because the Sacred Sword is going to land, and we will counter down, but they have a Giratina altered in the back. So that was probably a slight misplay on my end. I could have gone for the, landed the Earthquake and then gone for maybe Ice School Spear and then countered down with Obstagoon, had I known that it was Giratina altered in the back. So that's just a misplay on my end, but that's okay, because we're not going to be able to survive long enough in order to take out the Giratina Alter. So that's going to be a good game, very well played. But it was very cool to see how much damage Tapu Lele did to that Charizard, and the team working out pretty well, even though we were basically hard countered right there with the Cobalion. All right, Tapu Fini on the lead. A Tapu fight right here. Let's see who's going to win this out. Now, Confusion is doing a lot of damage. So is Water Gun. So I do need to worry about the Surf right here. I actually think it's going to be enough, and I don't want them to farm me down. So I'm going to go ahead and shield the first Surf, and then load up on energy, and now go for the Psyshock. This is going to do quite a bit of neutral damage. What if they let this go through? I'll Confusion them down. They shield, so I'm going to go ahead and go for two more Confusions, and then try to force shield number 2 from them. Because we have such a high attack set, we're going to be winning these CMP ties. We do get it, so I'm going to swap out into Wall Rain right away. Last game, right, I stayed in with Tapu Fini too long, or Tapu Lele too long, and there was a Cobalion in the back, so this time I'm going to keep it alive just in case. Now, they landed a Moonblast, and now they're going to go for another Surf, which is fine. If they're not swapping out, they must be weak in the back, so I'm just going to go ahead and load up on as much energy as I can, and then go for an Ice School Spear. So, let's see what the final Pokemon are going to be. My guess, Giratina Altered. Let's see. No, an Incineroar! This is spicy right here. You'll love to see it. We can freely go for the Earthquake, as it will be doing super effective damage, but unfortunately, I believe the Moonblast debuffed me. But this is actually a really good situation. We can let this go. we can come in with Obstagoon right now and look to counter down. If they swap out into a fighter, we have the Tapu Lele in the back, and we are going to shield right here. The next Flame Charge, I think, would have done a decent amount of damage, and actually the final Pokemon is going to be Giratina Altered, so we're actually going to go for Obstruct right now. This is the better play in a guaranteed no shield situation because I can get to 2 obstructs before they can get to 1 charge move. This boosts my own defense and lowers their defense. This is a no-brainer when it comes to this matchup to go for double obstruct in that situation since we farmed down the Incineroar because now Dragon Claws are doing no damage and now we are free to go for Night Slash. We based it basically because of double obstruct. Lowering their defenses basically, in a way, raised our own attack, right? If you think about it, our attack stayed the same, but since their defenses dropped, these Night Slashes now are going to be doing way more damage, just like they would with a boosted Obstagoon. So this is going to be a good game, very well played, and I'm glad I kept on to the Tapu Lele just in case there was a fighter in the back, if they were running double fighter. So that's going to be a good one as Obstagoon sweeps it right there. All right, moving into the next battle. We have Tapu Lele on the lead versus Giratina Altered. We have to swap out right away into Walrein, get ahead on energy, and we draw out a Cobalion. Again, the plan is going to a T right here. Leading with Tapu Lele, anchoring with Obstagoon, and using Walrein to draw out their fighter if it's a Virizion or a Cobalion because they will take super effective damage from Walrein. So what we need to do is actually give up a shield right here. I want to try to get to a second Earthquake, but not on that first one, on the second one right here because they're going to try to go for back-to-back. So we're going to go ahead and shield this second one because I want to land this Earthquake or get 2 shields from them. So thankfully we do get to the Earthquake in time. Now, if I was them, I'd probably let it go knowing I can survive and then they can farm me down, which is fine. But this is actually a really good situation because, again, if Cobalion is the only answer to an Obstagoon, we are looking very, very good. So we're going to go ahead and no-shield the Stone Edge. Confusion is still doing a ton of damage right there, even though it's neutral. And we're going to swap out right away into Obstagoon, and they instantly swap into a Regirock. We're going to go ahead and go for the Obstruct right here because I want to try to survive a Focus Blast. They decide to no-shield, which is fine. And now our counters are doing more damage because we're debuffing them. So we're going to go ahead and shield right here. But I thought to myself, I'm like, that was a bit quick for Focus Blast. And sure enough, it was. So now I have to go for a second Obstruct because if this is going to be the Focus Blast, which I believe Regirock does have access to, we get a shield right there. We should be able to survive this Focus Blast if it comes through, but I think it might just be a Stone Edge, and it is. This means we can fully counter down right now, and things are looking very, very good. Granted, we get hit with another Stone Edge, which is unfortunate. We didn't need to take that much extra damage, but we have Night Slashes now, and our defenses are still boosted. Now, Giratina Altered's defenses are not lowered because we didn't land Obstruct against it, but we're still doing a ton of damage to it with Night Slash, and we still have our Tapu Lele in the back with a good amount of health. So we're going to go ahead and go for this next Night Slash, and then we're going to try to race to the next charge move because I need them to dump their energy in order to take me out. And they do. They dump the Dragon Claw right away, which is perfect. This is now going to give the Tapu Lele an opportunity to get to the Psyshock in time, and we will win the CMP. And that is going to be a good battle. Very well played. This team worked to a T. The Tapu Lele lead. Oh, and there's still the Regirock in the back. And his confusion damage with Psyshock and Focus Blast was huge, but I think what really helped was the team that we had built behind it, right? Obstagoon, and I did go 4-1 with this team. This was just one full set, went 4-1. It was absolutely beautiful, but Walrein did its job. It countered the things that Tapu Lele lost to while also drawing out the fighters, and then it gave Obstagoon a chance to sweep in the endgame. So, hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Maybe give Tapu Lele a try, but do understand it's extremely spicy. It's ranked extremely low, and you have to have the exact team really to try to make it work. But overall, I had a lot of fun. Confusion, Focus Blast, and Psyshock, very high attack stat, and shiny as well. So, hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and like always, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.